What is going on YouTube? So in today's video I'm going to give you guys a little vlog of a delete I'm doing to my 2011 BMW 335d, and this delete, the whole kit, well, I sourced it all separately, tuning and everything's under $1,000. So here's a EGR delete, DPF delete. I'm going to do the SCR delete myself, just cut it out and re-weld it. Cable for the DUD MD tune. I'm running the stage 2 tune. And before we begin even jacking the car up, you gotta pop your hood and start removing all the dress up covers. So that means this cowl piece has to come off, engine cover, and we can get better access to some of the sensors we have to disconnect when we remove the factory DPF. So to start off, just go ahead and remove this sensor. You can see it just twists and then it pulls out, and it's got these little clips that hold the wiring in. Just disconnect those and then you can flop this off to the side. You have 4 8mm bolts that we need to remove this air filter section. Unbolt it from the actual windshield decal. Next, you have these covers. They literally just unclip from this cowl section, and then it exposes another set of 8mm bolts, one on each corner. Loosen those up. This portion is going to differ on your car because, as you can see, one of my clips are broken, and this one has what appears to be a Phillips screw. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and that will completely free up this cabin air filter section. So now is a good time to clean out your cabin air filters if you haven't already, or even replace them. Once that's off, you can actually kind of wiggle this entire panel out, separate it from the windshield decal. Here's a broken mount from a cabin air filter. So remove that, and then we have more access to the rear of the engine bay. Oh, one step I forgot. You gotta slide this wire and harness out from the bottom, and that will free this up. And you can just start one end and then just pull this whole thing out. And matter of fact, on my old car, my 335i, I went ahead and attached everything back up to this and left it unbolted just so I could quickly remove this and put it back in. So that's what I'm going to do with this car. But you know, it's the unprofessional way of doing things. You're leaving bolts out, but I like the ease of maintenance and the ease of accessibility. As you can see, I reattached everything, so it's one whole assembly now. So this can actually go right back into the car as is. So this engine cover's a 2-piece setup, and these are 5mm Allen heads. So let's go ahead and get these out. So there's a total of 5mm Allen heads. You gotta take the oil cap off, and the first section of the engine cover comes right off. So for the second section of the engine cover, I'm just using a regular Allen wrench to get this Allen bolt, because it's underneath this sway bar, or a strut bar I should say, and then that one I can actually get with the ratchet. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove those two and try to snake the rear of the second piece of the engine cover out. So I thought maybe with those removed I would be able to get this out, but it looks like these strut bars have to come off. So take a large flathead and we can actually pop this off. It's going to expose these Torx bits and then get these strut bars off. As you can see, it pops right off. I'm going to figure out what size these are and get them off. So the two on the outside are E14s. I'm assuming the center one is an E18. I don't have anything that large. I tried an E16. So E14's on the outside. The center one I believe is an E18, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try to work around this second section of the engine cover. It's not that big of a deal, it just gives you some more room, but it would help to have these strut bars off. But one thing I want to do is disconnect the battery, and I may possibly disconnect this power wire and flop it over to the side. So one thing I like to do when I disconnect the battery is just put your windows down and remove your key, so there's no chances of getting locked out of your car. So this car is filthy, so excuse the mess. So to get access to the battery, it's pretty simple. You just pull up and out on this tray. Actually, I gotta undo this little twist knob, and then it should come up and out just like that, and that exposes your battery. So I'm just going to disconnect the negative and positive terminals real quick. If push comes to shove, I will remove those, but until then, now I'm going to jack the car up, get it supported on all four corners, and now we need to remove the skid plates or the undercarriage trays. So now with the car supported, we're just going to get underneath it, start removing the skid plates, and then I'm actually going to drop this section of the exhaust down so I can expose the SCR, and I'll show you guys how to cut it, remove that catalyst section, and then re-weld it back. So it looks factory, but it's hollowed out. So it looks like there's a bunch of 8mm down here. I've already loosened up a couple on this small skid plate. That's actually looks like a heat shield for the DPF. Got a couple more right here I need to remove. This one's an 8, but this looks like a screw, so that needs to come off. Another 8, and then I think we can probably leave this skid plate on. This one, I don't think it needs to come off. It might give us easier access to the NOx sensors, but I know for sure I'm gonna remove this one and see if I can just leave the rest on. Okay, so I have the heat shield off, and this main skid plate right here has to come off as well because we need access to the motor mount. So this all needs to come off. Okay, so the majority of all these were 8mm, but this one for some reason is a 7mm. I don't know if it's something the previous owner put in place. Maybe he lost the original 8mm and just found that to put in its place, but anyways, you may possibly need a 7mm on top of the 8mm. So let's go ahead, get that out, and this whole skid plate will drop. Okay, so now that we're down here, you can see the motor mount. We have to remove this. There's actually a vacuum line that runs to it, so I'm trying to figure out how to get access to that. We have to remove the actual motor mount bracket, which bolts up to the block. As you can see, there's the DPF, so it's a huge chunk. To remove this bracket, so I'm gonna figure out what size all of this stuff is. But since we're down here, we can probably go ahead and do the simple stuff. Unhook these connectors and stuff, get them out of the way. NOx sensor, those I think we'll just undo from the top and let it drop with the DPF. So let's see, we got another bolt up there on the top. So a lot of people struggle with this. I'm hoping it'll be straightforward. We're doing it on jack stands, so let's see if we can't knock it out. So before I start working on everything else, I'm gonna go ahead and spray these nuts with the PB Blaster, just to let them soak, so we can go ahead and unbolt the rest of the exhaust and get the SCR dropped out. So these connectors are easy to take off. You just squeeze them, push the connector, squeeze, push in, and then out. Same with this one. Got a clip right here. Squeeze it down, push the connector in, then it pops out. And that's your DEF sprayer. So to make some more room to get access to these wires, I'm just going to remove the air box. So it's 2 10s. Flathead to loosen up this clamp, and the MAF connector, you just squeeze these 2 tabs and rock it out. Mine is kind of seized up, but gives you more access down here, so we can try to trace the sensor wires up, figure out where their connectors are at, and unhook them. So one sensor harness seems like it's easy to get to. It's this one right here. If you guys can see that, let me get the flashlight up in there. Right here, right above the wastegate. So I want to disconnect this one real quick. That's the easy one to get to. The other one's kind of tucked further back in there. You're going to need a flathead to get up in that clip, and you have to get in behind that tab, as you can see, and then you can disconnect it. A little tricky, it's a tight fit. So the other one we need to disconnect is behind the wastegate. You can see I have my flathead squeezed in behind that main harness. Now I'm going to try to zoom in underneath that zip tie. I'll show you guys where the flathead is at exactly. See, there's the connector. Now I'm going to push down on the flathead to show you guys how to pop it free. Just like that. Sorry that it's not focused. So now I'm back underneath the car. I'm going to trace the NOx and exhaust temperature sensors and disconnect them. This one is easy to trace. It's right here. So let's go ahead, get it disconnected, and try to get these out of this clip right here. So when we remove the DPF, nothing gets hung up. So we'll pull that out. Let's see, where is the connector at for this one? It's all the way back here next to your fuel filter. So we'll try to get in there and show you guys. It's the big connector, it's blurry. We'll try to get it to focus. Okay, so run in there, disconnect it real quick. Might have to take the skid plate off to get better access to it. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this one off, then I'll show you guys a better angle. So 8mm, go ahead and zip these out and get some more room. BMW loves their undercarriage trays, but now we can crawl over here to this connector. Go ahead, get this wiring harness out of these metal clips, and then let's see, how does this puppy disconnect? So okay, gotta figure out how this thing disconnects real quick. Okay, so don't make the mistake I did. I accidentally broke that tab thinking that you pried it back to remove this connector. Turns out for the NOx sensor, that's not the connector. You just have to unbolt this whole housing right here. So it looks like we've got 2 nuts, maybe 10 or 12. So we'll remove that, and that pretty much is what disconnects your NOx sensor. 2 10mm nuts, and that's disconnected now. So I guess since I'm down here, I'm just going to go ahead and remove this cover so we can get access to this vacuum line going to the motor mount. So I'll figure out what sizes those are and update you guys in a minute. So it's a combination of T40s and then E14, which I'm struggling to get to this one because this brace is in the way. But yeah, I need to figure out, find a slimmer socket to get in there and remove that one, but then we can get access to this vacuum line. So I don't recommend doing this, but I just took a regular 10mm 6-point socket, and I was able to get it up in there and bypass taking this brace off. So now we can get this panel off real quick. So there's the nipple that you need to remove the vacuum line off of, and that bracket will drop off. So here's our motor mount, and it's exposed now. Okay, and since I'm down here, I'll remove these 2 E12s and this 13mm to get this bracket out of the way. Okay, so that bracket's removed, and we don't need that bracket anymore with the DPF delete. So just to give myself just a little extra room, I removed the def sprayer. It's a 4mm Allen head, and it's a V-band. And once you take that Allen head out, you can take a flat head and pop the V-band, free it up, and it just pops right off. So we just have a little more room because you don't have much to work with, so every little bit helps. I am just going to remove the passenger wheel so there's more access to crawl underneath the car. So if you guys aren't familiar, those are 17mm lug bolts. So with the wheel off, you do have more room to crawl around. I think we have everything unbolted. Well, I got one bracket up there. It looks like another 13 I'm going to have to remove. So my cousin's removing the 13mm on top. See that metal hard line? That's the bolt. So I'm gonna try to reach my hand up in here and show you guys. There it is. So you see where my thumb is at? That's the 13mm bolt that you have to remove. So I'm gonna zoom out just to show you guys how far tucked up in there it is. It's tucked in there pretty good. So I'm gonna try to figure out a combination of wobbles and extensions to get to it, because that definitely has to be loosened up. Once we get the bolt out, we'll show you the contraption that we've created, and maybe that'll help you guys out in the process. So he's got the ratchet kind of in place where the bolt's at. As you guys can see, I'm on top of the engine bay. It's definitely not fun. We're still struggling. So I want to try this extension and wobble, and then if that doesn't work, we have a wobble 13mm socket. I don't know if this would be too thick, but he's gonna...
It's like you need the length from the ratchet to here just to be able to get to it. Between the firewall and the actual DPF itself, you need a 6-inch extension's too long.
Yeah.
So you need like something short. I'm just trying to use this to like make up space.
So the regular wobble extension, it's just it moves too much, so I put some tape on it to kind of help hold it in place. It still wobbles, but not as bad. It's a two-man job no matter how you look at it. He was able to get the ratchet started, and I reached my hand in, and he held the ratchet or the extensions from popping off the bolt, and I was able to turn the ratchet from up top just like this, and we were able to break the bolt free. The bolt's still in there, it's just loosened up, so now we're just trying to figure out a way to get in there and turn it by hand. Okay, we finally got that godforsaken bracket out.
It was just like that.
So yeah, that 13 is a pain in the butt to get off. So the bottom one easy, top one difficult. So I'm letting these nuts right here soak. I'm gonna start loosening those up. Then we're gonna loosen up the V-band, and we're gonna try to snake this out without taking the motor mount off. But everyone else takes the motor mount out, so there's probably a reason for that. But I'm gonna try to do it without removing it. So he's undoing the V-band right now. It was a what, E12?
E10.
E10. Okay, the WD-40 wasn't enough to get these nuts off. Actually, I had to take some MAP gas. I broke one, unfortunately, before I learned to use MAP gas. And then heated that one up. That one came off. So, undo these and start dropping the exhaust, I guess. Okay, so right now you can see I'm using WD-40 in this big pry bar to loosen up the exhaust from these exhaust hangers. There's a supporting piece in the center of the exhaust, the midsection. This little plate right here. It had some E50s, just 4 of them. This plate drops so the exhaust can drop. Right now I'm going to try to loosen up this knock sensor in the back of the exhaust so I can drop everything down as a one whole assembly and drag the exhaust out. I can't find the connector for it. It's tucked up in these heat shields. I really don't want to keep dropping all these skid plates. So a regular O2 sensor socket will work. As you can see, he's taking off the knock sensor with it. Now the exhaust should be able to drop freely. So with the DPF unbolted from the turbo, the V-band clamp loosened up, and the exhaust removed, it looks like the motor mount might have to come off. And there's a knock sensor right here with this aluminum like heat shielding that goes back, follow that black wire above the wastegate right there where my flashlight's at. Okay, so that it's actually O2 sensor, and you can see where my flashlight is at. There's like a little tray that the sensor housing went into. Let me turn the flashlight on my phone. So right here where my finger's pointing, it slid into that little channel, and once you can see these little grooves right here on the side. That's what slid into that channel. I just went ahead, took a flathead in behind it, pulled the whole thing out, so I have way better access. I'm trying to figure out how to disconnect this, and it looks like it's just a push tab. So I'll go ahead and get that disconnected, and we'll see if we can remove this DPF with the motor mount in place, but unfortunately that does not look like the case. Okay, so I have the exhaust dropped completely, as you can see. I think we made a mistake dropping the DPF without loosening up the motor mount, because now the DPF is laying on the motor mount. So unless you guys cut this thing up with a hacksaw or sawzall, I don't think there's any other way. You gotta drop the motor mount. So we're gonna try to get to those E12s. There's 4 of them from up top, and there's a nut on the top of the motor mount itself. You guys can see it on the left there. So right now I'm just removing these little tiny inner liner pieces. This one actually wrapped around the rack and pin in. I'm gonna try to take as much of this plastic off as I can. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys up top here. You can see my extension back up in there. That's the top recessed one. You see those 2 outer ones right there? Those are fairly easy to access. And then I'm gonna show you down here at the bottom. You can see that hole right there, and that is the bottom recessed one. Take the top nut off, and I think I can actually jack the engine up a little bit, and maybe that will free up some space to get to those bolts. So I'm gonna try that right now. As you can see, I have a bunch of extensions, and it's a 16mm nut. Okay, so I removed the nut, jacked the engine up. I'm gonna see if that will help give me some more space to get to those E12s. So it seems like getting it from the top is probably the easiest way. I'm doing the bottom left bolt. I had to kind of get it started by feel because you can't really see the head of the E-Torx. So now I'm just trying to get that one out real quick and then work on the other 3. So he may have better luck doing everything from up top, but jacking up the engine did seem to help give you some more room from up top. I think that's the best route to do. This is from the top and not the bottom, but as you can see, there's my ratchet, and I have about a 6-inch extension with an E12 on it. So far I've been able to get 3 of the E12s out, and the only way I was able to get to them was from up top. I'd have someone help guide me from the bottom, but there's one that's on top of the motor mount and underneath the DPF. I'm really struggling with it. You definitely need an extra set of hands. So we got all 4 of the bolts out from up top, but I had to work from the bottom to hold the extensions and socket in. So the hardest one is, well, once I take this mount out, I'll show you guys exactly where it's at, but it's the one sandwiched in between the DPF and the motor mount. So I got the extension started from the bottom. They had to bring the ratchet down from up top, connect it to the extension. That was a pain in the ass. While I use my finger as a buffer, you can see it's kind of swollen because there's a little U channel, and I was using my finger in that U channel to keep the extensions and socket in place up against the that E12. So this is how it sits off the block, just like this. So these 2 are fairly easy to get to. This one I had to get through that little access panel. I ran a set of extensions through it, and then I was able to get on that one. But here's that little U-shaped dip I was talking about. So when I reached up in here, I kept my index finger in that little U to keep the socket and extension straight, because if I move my finger it would slip off, and then when you'd push forward you can see it wouldn't line back up. So my finger was a guide. It's quite painful backing it off and having them try to restart it, but eventually it broke free. So if you have someone to help you, just make sure they have a good pain tolerance, because they're gonna have to use their finger. But it's my car, so in my case I was the one letting them crush my finger. But yeah, pain in the butt. So now to completely get this thing off, looks like there's 2 vacuum lines holding this thing up. You can kind of see back top left corner. I'm trying to focus, but you see those 2 little metal lines? There's 2 vacuum lines running to those, so I'm unplug those. DPF should drop right out. Okay, one other thing, I loosened up this let me see what size that was, E14 on this bracket right here, because it was kind of in the way. But as I loosen it up, the DPF was putting weight on it and it kind of pushed it down. But anyways, now this thing, as you can see, is coming out. Okay, everything's out. There it is. So I took some MAP gas, heated up these sensors right here. I'm going to take them out, transfer them over to the new downpipe, and torque them down. Okay, so I transferred over the O2 sensor, and I'm assuming this is the exhaust temperature sensor. So they just swap right over to your new downpipe. So since we're doing a delete, you don't need the NOx sensors, so don't even worry about those at all, or the soot level sensor. All of it's deleted. So if you really want to and do it right, you can plug off where those vacuum lines went. I'm just gonna leave them hanging. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but this thing is ready to go back in. So now I'm contemplating on what to do next. I don't know if I should go ahead and get this hooked up to the V-band, or if I should go ahead and put the motor mount bracket back on. I'm thinking I should go ahead and put that on, because I think getting this snaked up to the V-band will be much easier, and trying to get these started with everything out of the way I think will be much easier. So what I want to do is just go ahead and get these 2 bolts already inside, especially that one, and then start them in by hand real quick. I thought getting the motor mount back in would be easier than taking it off, and it's not. It's a pain in the ass. But finally got it back in place. That's my stopping point for tonight. So tomorrow I'm gonna go ahead and get the new downpipe in place, hook up the V-band. Then I'm gonna do the SCR delete, then we can put all the exhaust back in. Then I need to upload my DUDMD stage 2 tune. Hopefully some of the things I learned so far will help you guys out, because there's not really much information out there about this, because I've been trying to find out the easiest ways to do this. Can't find anything, so I've just been working at it, and it was a job I was thinking would be a one-man job, and it's not. Unfortunately, you do need another set of hands. It'll definitely come in handy, and if you had a lift, that'd make things so much easier. But like I said, this is stopping point for today. Tomorrow we're gonna go back at it.